Hi Aries, welcome to your July 2020 Tarot reading. Let's jump right into it. So the first card you have is the Wheel of Fortune, and this usually means that there's going to be a change in direction in a situation in your life. And what I'm seeing here is that it might be something that you don't like. I'm sorry to say that, but it almost feels like there's a situation in your life, and it could be work or romantic or family or otherwise, that it's going one way for a while, and then a person maybe comes up to you, and it could be a boss or a lover or a spouse, and they all of a sudden they want to change things, and it takes you off guard. You're like, what? And it's weird, but at the same time, you're surprised but not surprised. A part of you is surprised that someone came forward to say something about it, but at the same time, I feel like you've known for a while in this situation that you were kind of, I don't want to say playing fast and loose, but that's like the first expression that comes to mind. I'm not saying you had ill intent, but what I'm saying is that it seems like you knew you were kind of, there was a situation where things were kind of just going forward, and you're like, oh, well, you kind of knew in the back of your mind that something wasn't 100% on the up and up with it, but you're like, I'm just going to let it keep going and see how long it goes or how long it plays out. It doesn't necessarily mean you had a bad intention, but it's more of like you kind of knew something wasn't 100% right, but you didn't want to deal with it, so you just kind of left it alone. And at the same time, you thought that, it was fine, that no one would say anything. So it's like someone comes up to you, or things change drastically. It could have been because you were procrastinating on something. I'm hearing the word procrastination. You procrastinated on taking some certain action to deal with something, and you've had all this time to do it. So now it's something or someone is just doing it for you so the change could happen. So yeah. And it's also reminding you that nothing's permanent. Things always change. But you were kind of resisting a change. You kind of just wanted things to keep going the way they were. But now the change is kind of happening, whether you've had time to do it on your own, and now the change is just going to happen. So that's what I see. Is that, yeah, you kind of knew, you were kind of waiting. It's almost like you wanted someone to come in or something to come in to change things. But very like in your subconscious, like on some level you felt that, but you just didn't want to deal with it because you're too busy, and you're just like, I'm just going to keep going forward. And I think you were telling yourself you're going to deal with it, but you just never did. So the next card is the Emperor, and that's probably you, Aries. Aries is the Emperor card. It could be you, or it could be someone else with fire energy. It could be a fire sign, sun, moon, or rising. I kind of feel like it was you, but it's not necessarily you. Whoever it was someone that wasn't fulfilling their leadership role in some way. Some role where they had to take the lead and take care of something. They weren't handling it properly. And the two extreme energies here are someone who doesn't stand up and take action and is quiet and shy and naive about it. And then the other extreme is almost like a dictator energy. Someone is too strict about something. So the two ends are either you or someone else in this situation was too strict about something, or not strict enough. Which kind of led to whatever this situation is, where there's a sudden shift or something gets exposed. You're being asked you need to make a plan. The way you've been doing things in this situation have been ineffective or confusing to the people involved. And again, I've already said this, but please keep in mind, this is going to be a different situation for everyone. It could be a work situation. It could be a project you're working on. It could be a family situation. It could be a situation with a love interest. Yeah, so just not being solid in leading and taking direction with whatever the situation was, and it's connected to the Wheel of Fortune situation, where you or someone else with a fire energy kind of dropped the ball on something, or they weren't fulfilling their leadership role in the way that they were supposed to. And then with this Ten of Cups, the next card is the Ten of Cups, and I kind of feel like this is you just, and this is a very positive card, but in the context of the story that I see here, I just see you kind of throwing your hands up and being like, I had it. Like, I'm sick of you people. You guys are just stressing me out. I'm going to go home. I want to go home. I'm hearing a female voice say, I just want to be with my kids and my dogs or something like that. I just want to go home. I just want to be with my family, or I just want to be alone with myself, in myself. I feel like it's half of you guys will be one or the other. And I almost feel like you guys were avoiding that. Like, maybe before you didn't, I'm not saying you don't like your family or anything. I'm not saying you don't like your kids or your spouse, but it's almost like you were kind of avoiding them a little bit because you were just kind of doing your own thing. I don't know, probably in work. You were just kind of focused on your own thing, your own project. And maybe not so connected to your family or so connected to yourself. But the situation happens and it forces you into that energy where you're just like, I just want to go home. And I'm hearing like some younger adults that maybe still live with their parents. It's like, I kind of just want to be with my mom and dad right now, even though maybe I don't really want to be with them usually. So I see that happening for you in July, where like the situation comes up and there's a sudden shift and you don't really want to deal with it. You want to go home and just cozy up. And this is what's right for you at this time. So my suggestion looking at these cards is to don't deny that. Go home, go be with yourself or your family or both, and just take a break. Yeah, and it's definitely a retreat from the drama of the first two cards. Yeah. You just want to be alone. You just want to be with your dogs and cats, whatever it is. It's needed for you. You are needed to do this, but at the same time, it's a way of you kind of avoiding the situation. But that's okay, because the situation's gonna get dealt with one way or another. You just need to go through this process where you kind of step back and take a break, kind of get out of the action Aries mode. And I feel like some of you like come back to your heart, that it could be like a very emotional or spiritual thing where you kind of rest at home in your heart, kind of coming back to yourself. And the drama from the first two cards will get settled. I feel like that's what this card is saying. It's going to get resolved. You're going to have fulfillment. You're going to have your heart's desire. And this card could also be like a final stage of healing for you. And it's a relief from the suffering. So I see you doing that in July. Maybe in the middle of the month, where you kind of just take this break. The next card is the Page of Swords. I feel like once you start to relax and settle into this me time mode, there's, again, like I said, the situation gets dealt with one way or another. A message comes in for you. Or you have a realization. Either someone brings the message to you, or if it's not another person coming in, like you have a realization. And if someone comes and tells you something, you say, oh, how did I miss that? Like, oh crap, like how did I not see that? And if you realize it yourself, it's the same thing where it's like, how did I not see that? And you might beat yourself up about it. I'm feeling that. And if a person comes and tells you this, I feel like they might not be very gentle or tactful in how they communicate. Try not to take it personal. I'm hearing this is just how they talk. don't like blow up at them. It's just going to make things worse. Just take the message. They are seeing something you weren't able to see, or if it's you, you're seeing something you weren't able to see before. And it took you being in the Ten of Cups energy to realize that, where you kind of just take a break. Sorry about that. I moved the camera. So you're able to finally see it, or someone points it out to you. And it could be about a person. Like maybe a person wasn't who you thought they were, or you missed how something could be solved. It's a message of connecting the dots. Like something that you didn't think was related is. And then you say, oh, that is why they said that, or it was, this situation was like that. So the last card is the Seven of Pentacles, and I feel like whatever this message is, it might make you feel like, oh, I wasted so much time on that thing, that project or that job or that person, or I wasted so much money on that investment. It's something like that. And your inclination as Aries is going to want to go run ahead and do something about it right away. And I'm feeling really strongly that you do not do that. I won't tell you what to do, but I'm feeling really strongly that is not advisable. To kind of, you're being asked to stop and reflect before you go jump into fixing it mode. And it goes back to this Ten of Cups energy. Just kind of relax into the news and think about it. And I'm feeling really strongly that this is part of your growth, that this is a lesson for you. And if you don't learn the lesson this time, there's going to be another situation in the future in your life that's going to try and teach you this lesson. I can't tell you exactly what the lesson is. It's going to be slightly different for everyone. But having to do with seeing things for how they really are, and not pulling blinders on your eyes, and not dealing with things that need to get dealt with. And I feel like it's advisable to call in others to help you. And I feel like that's what put you in this situation in the first place. Maybe early on, months ago or years ago, you knew that kind of in the back of your head something wasn't 100% right. And you thought, well, I can't deal with it. I would have to like bring in other people and ask for help. And that just sounds like too much. And like, you don't really want to ask others for help. That's what I feel. You didn't want to do that. You didn't want to call in all these other people and open up this big thing. And I feel like it is advisable that you reach out for help, possibly. And it could be from an expert. It could be maybe a fiscal management person, if it's money related. Or, you know, maybe you thought you can trust someone and you learned that you can't. And maybe you need help healing your heart. Maybe you need someone to support you in that. But I'm really feeling strongly you need to be patient as you deal with this snafu. You can't jump in trying to fix it. That's going to make it worse, I feel like. Like you're being asked to stop and reflect on how things turned out this way. That's what it feels like. I feel like this is the narrative for most of you guys, generally. Some of you, it might be like a reversal, like a positive thing, like things change for the better, and you realize it's because you didn't procrastinate and you took care of things. But I feel like most of you, it's not the reversal. It's this kind of harsh lesson that you learn. Yeah. Well, that's all I have for you, Aries. There's an extended reading. You can check it out in the description box if you would like to. And that's it. I'll see you next month. Bye.